Hi there. Hi. A lovely good afternoon, good evening, wherever that you are in India and Malaysia. And welcome to this edition of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. Heart to Heart is brought to you in association with the MAC Clinic, Malaysia's premier aesthetic institution, managed and run by our wonderful Dr. Hugh. Who's the medical director of the MAC Clinic. So welcome to this another beautiful Sunday. It's been an awesome day today in Malaysia. There's been great weather. I woke up in the morning, kind of lazy in bed because it's Sunday, and it was raining and there was thunder and lightning. And then kind of made my breakfast, sat down, watched all my affirmation videos, which I do, which I think all of us should do it as a practice to set the day to the right tone. And then my buddy Shamina called up saying, "Hey, what you doing?" I said, "Okay, just let's do something." So we kind of met up in town along with her daughter Zoya, who I really like. And we had a lovely girl out about in town. We brunched, then we went to the Garden Mall, we went to Mid Valley Mall, did a whole lot of window shopping into all our favorite stores, Zara, Mango, H&M, and Gucci, and Louis Vuitton, just to check out, what was happening there. A lot of people in the malls in Malaysia, all eating, all shopping, buzzing. And it was such a great feeling to see that, the country that you like and love come to life with people. So from there, we came to the pavilion. We had a nice Mexican lunch. Hung out there again, checked out again our favorite stores, checked out all the bargains and sales, and every girl likes that, right? And then I said, okay, I have to get back home because I have to host Heart to Heart, and I have to have my favorite guest who is I'm dying to kind of meet onto the show and learn everything that she does, as a lawyer. And today we have such a wonderful topic that we are discussing that. Dr. Nithiya is so passionate about, and so am I. Basically, in terms of children's rights and safeguarding them, making sure that that children today, despite all the technology and all the revolution in tech and standard of living, everything that is happening in our world, that children are not shortchanged. They also get the better end of development and progress. And to speak on that, we have Dr. Nithiya, who will join me very, very soon as we go and take the show live. So, wherever that you are, fix yourself a nice warm cup of tea. I already have my tea all set there and waiting for me. Pour yourself a glass of beer, or open up that bottle of wine, and get into the heart to heart mood of listening in, participating in yet another very exciting, very interesting, and very soul edition of Heart to Heart series with Dr. Nithiya Thiahhan. And she is based in Malaysia. I am based in Malaysia. All my friends who are in India, all my friends who are in Malaysia, come onto my Facebook page and log in, and let's make this edition very, very interactive. I love to hear from you. I love your participation during the show, so that it also kind of lets me know, what you are thinking. If you have a question to ask Dr. Nithiya, please put it into the comment box, and we will have Dr. Nithiya address that question, with your answer. So belt up and let us start with this edition of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa, brought to you in association with the MAC Clinic. Hold on, and let me just get Dr. Nithiya Thiahhan online with me. Hey!
Hi, how are
Hi!
you?
Good, and good evening, and welcome to Heart to Heart.
Thank you, and thank you for the beautiful introduction.
You're most welcome. I've been looking at your profile, and wow, you really are kick ass, and you're really ass, and you're really Spitfire. You also won the Woman Icon of the Year, right? I
Yes,
think 2021, wasn't that?
yes,
Correct?
yes,
And
yes.
yeah, and I've been seeing, and we've been meeting off and on, as Friday buddies, correct? To kind of
Yeah.
talk, discuss, all your passion projects that you've been so passionate about. So, without any further ado, welcome to this edition of Heart to Heart. Pleasure to have you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Pleasure, really pleasure to have you. So let's jump in.
Yep, sure.
Great. Okay. So, tell us about your journey because I'm sure my audiences in India and Malaysia want to know. Tell us about your journey getting into law, and what were the factors influencing this decision, Dr. Nithya?
All right. Let me tell you like a very brief about me. Okay,
Hmm.
myself, like my character. Like
Hmm.
since small, I have always been someone that I want to be outstanding in
Hmm.
a crowd. I
Right.
want to be in the spotlight. Even when
Yes.
I stand in a crowd. So for
Yes.
that, I will do something. So when I was looking for what is that something, you know so I'm actually basically my hometown is in Johor. you
Mm-hmm.
know
Okay. Okay.
so I came from a very small town.
Hmm.
So and my relatives, my circle of friends, in my place, like basically uh, it's a very small town. We know each other and all that. And when
Correct.
you see the career wise and also the education level, they'll be only until up to school. There'll be only very few of them actually went to universities.
Hmm.
They continued their studies and all this.
Okay. Okay.
And most of them will end up being teachers. uh, the whatever the jobs that actually
Yeah. The
like
normal ones, the normal
the
jobs.
normal ones. Okay, it's not like normal ones. It's like when they see the others, they are being teachers or
Oh,
any other jobs,
yeah.
like management or something in corporate or something. They just get influenced by it.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I was like, no, this is not what I want.
Hmm.
Then at one point I saw my far relatives, the husband and wife, my uncle and auntie, they actually lawyers. So
Okay.
when I saw their lifestyles and all this, I was like, okay, that's nice.
Hmm.
I love their lifestyle and the confidence.
Yes.
The way they talk to people. Then I found out, okay, both of them are lawyers.
Hmm.
Since then, I already fixed in my mind, if I become a lawyer, I can be so confident like them. I can
Hmm. Hmm.
talk confidently like them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So since then, I already fixed in my mind that I want to become a lawyer. So as
Hmm.
I grow, I have seen a lot of ups and downs in my life.
Okay.
For example, I was raised by a single mother. My
Hmm.
dad passed away
Okay.
when I was 8. So I have seen people help my mom. Even some, they refuse to help my mom. So I have seen both ways.
Both sides.
And in a way, actually, I realized how it actually changing someone's life when
Hmm.
someone actually helping the person.
Yes.
So it
Yeah.
actually influenced my lifestyle and my mindset.
Hmm.
When
Hmm.
we help someone, it actually literally changing the person's life, to be a better person, for a
Yes.
better life. So and I love that. So all these mixed up, that I have decided, okay, I'm going to do law.
Hmm.
uh, People say, okay, why you want to be a lawyer? Because you want to earn more money. You want to
Hmm.
earn, you can earn a lot money. you know that's yes and no. Okay,
Yes.
we can say yes or no.
Everything is
And
okay. Everything is okay with making money. We should never be guilty about
correct,
it.
correct. Nothing,
Yeah.
nothing wrong in making money,
Yeah.
right? So it's just that not purely because of making money, you
Hmm.
know.
Hmm. Okay.
So then along my journey, then I get into university. I did my law and all that. Once I graduated, I started my practice. So now I've been in practice for almost 12 years. All
12 years,
right.
huh? Okay.
Yes, and I'm specialized in family matters
Hmm.
like divorce, child custody, adoption,
Okay.
and also property matters, will writing, and all that.
Ah,
Anything
right.
related to family.
Right.
Like
Yes.
anything related to their future and all this. So
Correct.
along the way, I find it not to say fun, but I
Hmm.
get the satisfaction, you
Hmm.
know, by
Important.
helping these people. by guiding them what's the right thing to do.
Yes.
That's the difference between laymen and lawyers, because we
Yes.
know the law, so
Correct.
we guide them in a proper channel.
Hmm.
What's the procedure, what's the right way for you to get your justice.
Hmm.
you
Correct.
know
Yeah.
yeah.
And the topics, or the what I would call it, the portfolio that you mentioned, uh, like you rightly said, sounds very high stress, because
Mm-hmm.
because it is also people related and rights, and you know and you know what I'm saying, correct? It is
Correct.
fireworks, actually, like completely
Correct.
fireworks when it comes to,
Correct.
yeah, when it comes to divorce and child custody and property settlement,
Yes.
divisions, all fireworks. My God, yeah. In India has a lot of that too. Yeah, especially Goa also. I think 70%
All
of the
right. All
legal
right.
matters in Goan courts is all this. It's just the fireworks, as you call it. Right. So that is
Yeah.
very interesting to hear that, and how your relatives kind of influenced you to get into that, and I'm sure
Yes.
you are a Spitfire lawyer, because as I said, whatever that I've read about you seems to be that that you don't suffer fools, and I like that. Yeah, I like that. I like that about women. Women don't suffer fools. Some of them,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Correct.
So, Dr. Nitya, what issues would you say, and would you like to share, are closest to your heart, and why?
All right. Okay. I have handled thousands and thousands of divorce matters and child
Hmm.
custody. All right.
Right.
That's what I do.
Okay.
Okay. Divorce, it's up to the individual, and
Hmm.
up to the couples.
Yes.
Only they know, whether they can get along in, whether they can live or they can stay in the marriage or
Right.
not. Okay.
Yes.
That's totally up to them. They have all
Correct.
the rights to decide, whether to stay in the marriage or, to get a divorce. But the most heartbreaking part is when it comes to child custody.
Hmm.
you know
Right.
the
Right.
battle going on between the husband and the wife to get the child custody is very, very heartbreaking. you know
Yes.
okay, because it's like, yes, it's like something, we should be happy because both parents, they fighting for their rights. I want the child, I want to take care of the child, and
Yes.
it's a good thing.
Correct.
Okay. But in my experience, I have encountered few cases where
Hmm.
both husband and wife, they didn't want the child. They
Oh.
refused to get the custody.
Oh my God. Okay.
That was the most heartbreaking thing ever I have dealt with.
Wow. That sounds painful.
Yeah. It is.
Hmm.
Even now, I'm sure even other lawyers are still encountering that sort of matters.
Right.
So we
Right.
have to handle this issue very, very carefully because we are
Correct.
dealing with a child, and
Yes.
the child's future.
Right.
So we can't be giving the child to someone that actually doesn't want the child.
Hmm. My gosh.
You
Okay.
know,
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
so these are the kind of cases that actually I'm dealing with almost every day.
Yeah. Oh my God. That sounds awful, actually. Right.
Yes, and
Yeah.
most important thing, we lawyers must be prepared what to do next. If
Correct.
we face this kind of matter.
Right. Which also means, Dr. Nithya, that you have to be much more than just a lawyer, isn't it? Uh, you know,
Correct.
you
Correct.
be
It's not just
mentally
about documentation. It's not just about attending the court, get the
correct.
judgment, and get our fees, and then we're done. No, it's beyond that. We
Correct.
will the client's problems are actually will become our problem. You know.
Yes. Yes.
So, and we are the they why the clients are actually coming to us because they want a solution.
Correct.
It's not because they want to make it more complicated.
Hmm. Correct.
So we must make sure we get them the solution, and also whatever that, it's their rights.
Yes. Yeah. Which is fair in the eyes of the law, and I think fair and just in the eyes of human rights and humanity as well. Correct? I mean, it's a
Correct,
fine
correct.
balance. It's a very delicate balance, and that's why I think today's topic, safeguarding children's, safeguarding children in society's core duty, is so important, because
Yes,
like you mentioned, if my God, that sounds like a very heartbreaking situation. When the parents reject, correct,
yes,
like
reject.
the child,
Correct,
then how does society step in to fulfill that
correct,
role, as a caregiver, correct? In that
correct.
way. Yeah, which brings me to kind of also ask you, because I know that you're quite the feminist also, and that's why we like each other, and I think that's very mutual between the two of us. Uh, what is your opinion on women's rights in Malaysia in particular, and worldwide in general?
Okay. Lucky you have brought up the word feminist.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hmm.
To be honest, I'm not a feminist. Okay. Like, okay,
Okay.
why I'm saying that? Because
Hmm.
for me, just because you are a woman
Hmm.
doesn't mean you deserve or you should have special rights. You know,
Hmm. Okay.
what
Okay.
I'm
Interesting.
fighting for,
Yeah.
yeah, what I'm empowering this woman, like spreading this awareness and all this, what literally I'm doing is actually for this woman to get to access, for their fundamental rights as a human.
Hmm. Okay. Very
you know
interesting. Yeah. Wow.
Yes, because usually people say, okay, I'm fighting for women's rights,
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
women's rights meaning it's not like more, we deserve, we want our rights that more than men.
Right.
No, we just want equal rights as men,
Hmm.
So that
Yeah.
is why for me, when it comes to human rights, it's genderless.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
why?
That's
But what's the necessary? We need to empower women and give the knowledge to women, because there are still so many women out there that not aware of their fundamental rights as a human,
right. Yes, you're
because
absolutely
of
right.
maybe, yeah, maybe because of the culture, or maybe the
Hmm.
family, how they were brought up and all this, so they kind of stuck, and they kind of think, okay, that's it, that's all,
This is what I
like for
deserve.
example, domestic violence, they get abused by the husbands or what, and it seems like they are like, okay, and accepting this is normal.
Right.
That
Yes.
is what I am educating this woman, this is not normal,
Hmm.
you know
Yeah.
so yeah, and another thing, like I told earlier, just because we are women doesn't mean we deserve a special, rights, or special
Special
or
rights.
extra. Yeah, yeah,
Hmm.
for me, I don't do that. I just want equal rights, to be treated equally,
Hmm.
for all the employment opportunities, education opportunities,
Right.
all this. We just want it equal, that's all,
So what you're saying is that the law should be genderless in giving out
yes, yes.
this, right? Okay.
Correct.
Interesting.
Like for example, we always talk about. We have seen, everybody talking about domestic violence. The moment we say domestic violence, they will relate to women.
Yes. Correct.
But how many of actually? I'm not sure how many people actually aware that there are so many domestic violence happening to men.
Yes. Yeah. And the most recent
You know,
case now was the Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. I mean,
exact
because they
perfect
were,
example,
yeah, because they were
right?
celebrities. Yeah.
Correct, correct. Just because they are celebrities, it got so much of attention and all this. But in reality,
Hmm.
in real life, there are so much more like men getting abused by the wives, by women.
By women. Yeah.
So yeah, so
Right.
we don't want end up like men, fighting for special rights of men in future, so
Hmm. Hmm.
basically men and women, both, we are fighting for our fundamental rights as a human being.
Hmm. Well, that is really nice, and I'm so glad that you kind of put the spotlight on that, and that you kind of clarified that the law should be seen, as genderless in terms of
Gender.
giving out,
Yes.
justice, right? Or because,
Correct.
yeah, yeah. And Dr. Nitya, I think there is so much more education and awareness that really needs to get out in this particular manner of speaking, so to
Yes.
say. Correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
and I can also share with you
Hmm.
some of the things that's happening. Just
Yes.
because of this women's rights and all this.
Hmm.
What's happening at the moment where I have encountered. I have faced a few matters where women actually misuse of
Hmm.
this.
Hmm.
You know
Hmm.
to benefit themselves.
Yeah.
For
Yes.
example, they falsely reporting that they were sexually abused. They
Correct.
falsely reporting that they were
Yeah.
abused by the
Assaulted.
husband.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because they think the law, or the system will always in favor of them.
Hmm.
No,
Correct.
that's a very wrong thing to do.
Yes.
That's what we don't want it to be happen. We
Hmm.
don't want it happen in future.
Correct.
So that is why we want the law to be genderless. We don't
Yes.
want any party to misuse the law.
Correct. And also, I guess, in a way, for more men to also speak up, right?
Correct,
In
correct.
case of domestic violence, where it's the opposite way around,
Yes,
because I think like you and we I think we all know that, but it's not spoken for, that
correct.
men also, yeah, are subjected to domestic violence also. It's as simple
Yes.
as that. It's just not the woman. Yeah. And I watched a really fantastic movie last night with my friends. It was a Malayalam movie. Of course, I couldn't understand, but thanks to the subtitles, it was basically, yeah, the subtitles. It basically was addressing that. There was this fantastic
Yes,
actor who kind of was putting these all these points across about how the media also is responsible for manipulating verdicts in that way,
correct,
without
correct.
without getting into the depth of investigation. So the media, it gives out the verdict before even the court does it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
So you're
yes,
already guilty in the eyes of society, without letting
yes.
justice, do its own, processes and stuff. Yes, that
Correct,
yeah.
correct.
I'm so glad that you're really,
Yeah.
sharing this with us. Yeah.
So like while I do like women empowerment programs,
Hmm.
awareness talks, and all
Hmm.
this, at the same time, I am working along, and I am supporting men, who actually being abused,
Correct.
who's fighting for their rights and all that. For example, I've been working along with this Malaysian Fathers' Rights Association. You know,
Okay. Okay.
are you aware of such
No,
association?
no, I
Yeah,
was not.
we do have fathers rights association,
Okay. Okay.
and they have quite number of members,
Mm-hmm.
so they are all the fathers who's actually fighting for their rights, to get shared parenting. That's the key word here. That's
Mm-hmm.
what got me interested,
Yes.
because they are not fighting for their rights like I want the child,
Correct.
but they are
Correct.
just fighting for shared parenting,
Hmm. Nice.
and
Nice.
all these
Yes.
fathers somehow they've been abused, like I mentioned earlier, with false allegations and all these accusations,
Correct.
just because the mothers want the sole custody.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, I'm very glad actually there's such associations where actually these fathers can access, get
Yes.
some guidance.
Correct. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. Yeah, that's wonderful to hear. Right.
correct.
That's good to hear. Huh? The father. What is that? Fathers' Rights Association.
Fathers Rights Association
Association.
Malaysia. FRAM,
Right.
FRAM. Yep.
Okay. Which brings us to your own association and organization that you've kind of, put together as founder of the
Yeah.
Child Guard Malaysia, correct? Which is a
Yes. Yes.
volunteer movement to educate, empower, and bring awareness in society with regards to safety, counseling, and protection of the child, right? In that manner.
Correct.
Yeah. So how did your volunteer association come about, and what are its key functions, Dr. Nithiya?
All right. This Child Guard Malaysia. Okay,
Hmm.
I formed this Child Guard Malaysia. It was a voluntary movement. I
Okay.
didn't register at the association. I didn't
Hmm.
register it anywhere, but it was
Okay.
just on voluntary basis. I
All
formed
right.
it in 2017. So
Okay.
then I always go to schools, and schools will actually invite me to give talks and to
Hmm.
give awareness to
To the
students,
students.
to children about child sexual abuse and the
Correct.
preventions and all this.
Okay.
Then along the journey, I got so much of support from
Hmm.
people, from schools, and from the public in
Hmm.
general.
Hmm.
So somehow, and also few organizations like banks, like big corporate organizations, they
Correct.
have approached me. They say they want to support my cause and all this.
Hmm.
So for that, I needed, to get registered.
Okay.
So like I believe whatever we do, we must do it in a right way, in a proper
Yes.
channel.
Yes.
you know
That's correct.
so then I've registered it, and I named it as the Malaysian Humanitarian and Welfare Association. So I'm the
Okay.
president.
Okay.
So with this association, I'm going bigger.
Hmm.
I'm spreading the awareness like in a better way.
In your
And
community.
I have more people supporting my cause and all this.
Hmm.
And I'm going through it in a right channel.
Correct. And I've seen you
End
very
of the
active. I've seen you very active
Yeah,
in
end of
this.
the day, it's all about whether the children actually benefiting from it.
Yes. Correct.
That's my main goal here. It's not
Yes.
about who is collaborating with me or I'm
Hmm.
working along with who and all this, but
Yeah.
end of the day, children must get benefited from that.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Because all
Yeah.
good causes, start off start off with good intention, like we keep saying,
Correct.
right? Or Madonna keeps saying, the road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Correct.
And then the cause is forgotten, because everyone will then uses, most times that we see it, for everything else except for what the cause, the platform is all about. And then
Correct. Correct.
it doesn't end up doing the good that it could do. So I'm glad that you're keeping it very focused. And of
Correct.
course, you understand the direction that you're taking it on. And yeah, and I've seen you very active, because I see you on Facebook, speaking at this event and speaking at that event.
Yeah.
I'm sure you also kind of agree that the more visibility an issue brings to itself, the more we can expect people participation. Correct? What do you have to say about that?
Yes. Correct. 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 So, and yeah, I really thankful to the people because
Hmm.
they've been supporting me since the day one, until today.
Okay.
Like the moment they got to know what I do, through my association, what I do for the children, they
Correct.
can relate themselves, they can actually connected emotionally with what I do.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
the most important part.
Yes. Yeah. For people to resonate with what is happening. Correct.
True.
And then
Yes, correct.
the support comes from a very good space.
Yes, correct,
Correct.
correct.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds wonderful. And I said, as I told you, I kind of resonate with what you stand for, because I see the same kind of what do you call it? That the badass stuff, and the badass stuff is, yeah, is also my little kind of uh,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's the
Yeah.
energy, right, that you kind of get drawn to.
Correct,
Saying,
correct. It's the
yeah,
vibe.
yeah, it's a vibe.
Eh,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can only feel that energy, that vibe only with few people, and
Yes.
we can just click,
Yeah.
immediately.
Correct. It's a tribe. The tribe finds itself. It can be,
Correct.
it can be drawn by a cause, or drawn by issues, or just drawn because the energy, is a match. And I'm so
Yeah.
glad. Yeah, I'm so glad we connected that way. So this is awesome what you've shared. And to all, my friends who are online, who will watch the video later on too, please, let's also share this very widely in Malaysia as well. so that we bring more and more focus and spotlight on to children's issues and children's rights in Malaysia. And on that note, Dr. Nithiya, let's take a short little kind of break, like a tea break, as we always saying. I have my tea ready. I don't know about you, whether you have,
Yeah.
yeah. So that, and we'll come back, come right back to our topic and take it further, and talk some more interesting stuff. I'm going to see you soon
All
in a
right.
while. Yeah.
See you.
Yeah. This is a big shout out to Dr. Hugh, who is in Johor on some big cycling expedition or a competition, as he mentioned to me. We miss you today because you're not there with us, but not to be worried. I have a small little kind of clip which really kind of puts a spotlight on what the Mac Clinic does in Malaysia, and why we call it to be the top line in what it does in aesthetic solutions and beauty and skincare. And so stick right there. I'm going to play a small little video for you. Don't go anywhere.
Hey guys, welcome to the Mac Clinic. We've spoken about pickles, we've done Botox, we've talked about fillers, but today we have something special lined up for you. We are about to showcase the XLV by Cutera, which is a long pulse laser, and we have a very special guest with us today. Come on. So here we are preparing the XLV laser, but I did mention that we have a special guest. So here she is, Dr. Ong. Say hi, Ong. The award-winning XLV laser by Cutera is a state-of-the-art long pulse laser from the United States. It is best in class for vascular lesions and is used by famous models such as Kendall Jenner. It is multifunctional and tones, rejuvenates as well as lifts with virtually no downtime. It is a walk-in, walk-out treatment done in less than 15 minutes. Comfortable and perfect for those busy days. And to top it all off, the Mac Clinic owns the only working XLV laser in Malaysia. So, we just finished with the Cutera XLV Laser Genesis. So Dr. Ong, that took about how long?
About 15 to 20 minutes, I think.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty quick lunchtime procedure, I would say.
Was there any discomfort at all for you?
To be honest, I only felt slightly warm. Other than that, it was relatively comfortable. And I would also like to add on that actually it is a very quick, effective and hassle-free laser treatment, as you don't need prior numbing, and it only takes about 15 to 20 minutes and then you're good to go.
So there you go, the XLV Laser Genesis. Available only at your favorite clinic, the Mac Clinic.
That was a good break. Welcome back to Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa in association with the Mac Clinic, Malaysia's premier aesthetic institution. As I said, I miss Dr. Hugh not being here with us today, because I'm sure he would have had a whole lot of insights to also add from his perspective in terms of safeguarding children and how society needs to step up to do that, whether it's Malaysia or whether it's the rest of the world. And with that, let me bring back Dr. Nithiya to discuss and have talk more about how we can do this. Welcome back.
Hello.
Hi. Welcome back. Did you have a cup of tea?
Yes, I did.
Okay. I did too. Okay, great. So taking the conversation forward, in terms of what you've said and the insights that you kind of shared over the last 30 minutes with us and the audiences, I'm going to just ask you in terms of what is your opinion on children's rights in Malaysia, and how can locals help? I think this is very important, Dr. Nithiya, in your legal practice, and even, as a founder of Children's Guard Malaysia. Local participation is the key, isn't it, to make anything, any issue or a fight successful?
Yes, of course. First of all, okay, let's talk about the children's rights here. Okay. So, why children? Okay,
Yes.
so
Yes.
people ask this question to me like all the time, like
Mm.
there are so many issues happening, in our country, in worldwide and all this, like
Correct.
why you are actually addressing about child sexual abuse.
Mm.
Okay,
Mm.
so like okay, I share with you the reason. Okay,
Yes.
because uh I was also one of the victim when I
Yes.
was a child.
Yes.
Okay,
You mentioned that to
I
me.
was molested.
Mm.
Okay, but when I was 8.
I'm so
Okay,
sorry. I'm so sorry.
yeah, but if you actually honestly,
Mm.
there are so many people,
Yeah.
not only women, not only girls, it's
Yes.
happening to boys, it's happening
Yes.
to men also,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it is all about whether we are speaking out about it or not,
Yeah.
you know
I think people get very comfortable in silence, Dr. Nithiya.
correct, correct. I was too, because I wasn't sure whether it's the right thing, whether I can speak about it or not, whether it's
Mm.
the right thing to do or wrong thing to do.
You're correct.
So I was keeping it to myself, or all the while until when I got into university. So I
Mm.
started to share with my close friends,
Right.
So, and then happened to be they actually open up to me and they have shared that they have also sexually abused when they
Mm.
were small.
Yeah.
So then somehow it made me realize like, okay, I was not the only one. There are like so many people out there actually who became the victim, you know
Yes. Yeah.
and happened to be that was the first time ever in their life they actually sharing it to someone else,
Mm. Mm.
you know
Yeah.
then I realized that, okay, why then I told myself, okay, why not I start to actually talk more, you know
Yes. Yeah.
start to like voice out more about this, so more
Correct.
and more people will join hands together with me, you
Correct.
know
Yeah.
so that's how I started this journey. And why children? Because children actually like because they basically helpless,
Mm. Mm.
because they are too weak to stand, to stand for themselves,
Yes.
you know
Yes. Obviously, correct.
imagine even at this age, at this stage of life, we men, women, even we become so weak at certain situation where we
Correct.
actually let ourselves to be abused and all this.
Yes. Yeah.
Imagine children, you know
Yes. Yeah.
so
Yeah. Correct.
and
Yeah.
then
Hmm.
yeah, so they will be like, they'll be just keeping it silent, either threatened or they like, they got scared or something, there'll be so
Shame.
many,
Shame.
yeah,
Guilt.
correct, shame,
Trauma. Yeah. The
yeah,
trauma is a different creature altogether.
correct, correct. So then I decided, okay, why not me,
Hmm.
usually there's a thing where anything happens, right, something, anything wrong happens,
Right.
then people usually start to say, why not, why nobody is voicing out,
Hmm.
why nobody is doing something,
Hmm.
uh,
Hmm.
uh, why everybody is keeping quiet. It's
Correct.
always like, why nobody, nobody like,
Yeah.
nobody is actually asking themselves, why
Yeah. Why
not
not
me?
you? Yeah. Yeah. Why not
Yes,
me?
why not me? Why, instead of waiting someone else somewhere else, to
Yes.
to come forward and address the issue, why
Correct.
not it start from you?
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely correct.
Then
Absolutely correct.
yeah, that was the moment I decided who else can be the the most perfect person other than
Hmm.
myself, because
Hmm.
I was a victim and
Hmm.
I know exactly how it feels,
Yeah.
the trauma, the pain, the depression I went through and all this.
Yeah.
So and then I was like, okay, this is the time, I want to start
Hmm.
it, so
Yeah.
I started it slow, slow and all this, nobody knew about this and all that, but along the journey I got so many people, supporting my cause,
Yeah. And speaking
like,
up, right? And speaking up.
yeah, speaking up,
Yes.
and most important thing, I have made sure the children actually speaking out, you know
Correct.
So when I go to schools, right, when I give these talks, so
Hmm.
at the end of the session,
Right.
at least few children they actually coming to me personally and saying, thank you so much, and actually this thing happened to me. We are talking about small
Hmm.
kids.
Hmm.
So
Correct.
because after they listen to my talk, after they
Right.
listen to me, then only they got to know, they were aware that, oh, this is something that I can talk about you
Yes.
know
It is not normal. It's not normal, right? I mean,
Correct.
it's not. It shouldn't be normalized because
Correct.
of ignorance and yeah. Correct.
Yes. So the moment I share with them that actually it happened to me also when I was small and all this, it's somehow connecting us, and the most important thing, I have built the trust with them.
Yes. Yeah.
The trust is very very important.
Correct.
Okay. I've also faced a few cases where actually these children will share to the mothers or
Hmm.
someone that they know
Yes.
when this abuse happened. But unfortunately, it's very very sad thing when their own mother or the person who they deem, I mean, to be trusted person, end
Correct.
up they don't trust them.
Hmm.
They will put the blame on the child,
Yeah.
or saying, no, you are lying, or
Yes.
they will put,
Yeah.
or maybe they blame the dress,
Correct.
their activities and all that. They put the blame on the child as though they deserve to be abused in such way.
Correct. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I know what you're saying because I think in India too, obviously, it is the monster that needs to be spoken of more without
Correct.
being afraid, without being, without a sense of guilt or shame. And I'm glad that professionals like you are doing this, are very vocal about it, and taking all these, the tools of bringing awareness, bringing a sense of education, and getting even children to come up and speak about it. I think it's very brave, Dr. Nitya. It's very brave, very courageous, and I really wish you, to her 100% of power. You know what I'm saying?
Thank
Because
you so much.
yeah, seriously, because if you're messing around with children now, you're already setting the path for them to grow up as traumatized individuals, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
we all
Correct.
know what good comes out of trauma. So
Correct.
all your human potential of what you can be, you've already kind of negated it 50%, because now you have to deal with this as well. So that means
Yes.
so much more extra work that you need to do towards getting to your dream. You understand what I'm saying, right?
Yes, yes.
And
You see,
yeah.
for example, everybody literally talking about the
Hmm.
economy, and now after, pandemic and all this, they're talking about business, went down,
Correct.
and then on the other hand, some they're talking about education,
Yes.
all these sort of things. But who is going to talk about children?
Correct.
Because children actually the future, you
Yeah.
know so
Yes.
if we don't address the issues with children,
Correct.
there's no future. Okay.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
another thing I would like to highlight here, people, some people, not all,
Hmm.
some
Hmm.
people, when they read the news, maybe
Correct.
maybe when they watch, in news about child got raped, or
Yeah.
child got abused sexually,
Correct.
uh, for them, it's just another news.
Another headline.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
once finish the news, once after finish, they after read or something, they'll go
Hmm.
back to their, back to whatever they were doing. But
Yes.
for them, just a news, and it happened to someone else's child, in some other country,
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Oh,
which which
but
which brings me and I think this is very core. Do you think as a society we are becoming more insensitive? Are we being numbed by all the social media, kind of it's positive as well as negative? Are we becoming a numb, insensitive society, you think?
okay. To answer this question, right?
Hmm.
Usually, we, as human being, we the people, we don't take certain things seriously, or how painful it is, or how how deep it is until it
Yeah.
happens to us,
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So
Absolutely correct.
yeah, I think every single parent here should
Hmm.
ask question to themselves
Hmm.
whether this sexual abuse, any sort of abuse, a sexual abuse is not only about rape.
Yes.
There's so many sort of
Yeah,
sexual
yeah.
abuse. It
Correct.
can be verbal, it can be molest and all this, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So they should start to ask questions to themselves whether this thing is happening to my child, currently.
Hmm.
Maybe my child is quiet about it. Maybe
Yes.
my child is hiding about it. you
Yes.
know so they should not wait until someone like me,
Hmm.
to come and address this issue, come and talk to you.
Correct. Yes.
So if can, every single person, especially parents, everyone should
Correct.
like conscious, take this seriously, so
So what you're
that's
saying is
when
that
we can prevent.
prevent it through communication, isn't it?
Correct, correct,
Yeah.
correct.
That is the core, I think, between
Yes,
whether
the
it's parents.
communication is very, very important.
Yes, yeah, correct. And I think the more children are empowered, they become better communicators too. And I see that, where they start getting vocal about things that happen around them, and then to them. Correct in that
Correct.
way, right? Yeah, but kudos to you, Dr. Nithiya. I love what you do. As I've already mentioned to you, you have my support because you know, like we already know, and we keep telling, on our Friday night outs, right? The lawyer and the journalist is a deadly duo. Is a deadly duo to be, because yeah, information needs to get out, and
Correct.
information needs to get out in very constructive manner as well, because we want people's support. We don't want people's
Yes.
opposition, right? The
Yes.
support is important.
And
Because
it's not only about Malaysia, just because I'm from Malaysia, and it's
correct,
not only about India because you are from India, but it's
correct.
about worldwide. Because for me,
Yes,
children are children,
yes,
no
yeah,
matter from where they are, which
absolutely correct.
nation, which religion, which culture, the
Yeah,
basic is they are children,
correct.
and they must be protected.
Yes, yeah, absolutely correct. No race, religion, color, creed. A child is a
Correct.
child.
Correct.
No matter where it is from, right? Yeah, or which country, nationality and stuff like that. Which also
Yes.
brings me. I understand, that you are passionately and very purposefully, drawn into what you do, and your work speaks for itself. Correct. You also have a different side to you, which I'm very fascinated with, and very fascinated by, which your love for cars, bikes, the outdoors. You do jungle trips on your own. Is that your way to de-stress? Is that your de-stress mechanism?
Uh, Not really. I wouldn't say it's like de-stress myself. Okay, first
Hmm.
of all, let me tell like a small thing about me. Maybe a secret about me. I
Okay.
don't get stress. You
Okay.
know,
Oh,
I
all right.
don't get stress because for me it doesn't benefit me anything by getting stress.
Hmm.
For me
Hmm.
every problem will have a solution. Just go
Hmm.
after the solution. Just find out what's the solution. There's no point of you being stressed in between. And
Correct.
like you mentioned, I'm into cars, bikes, and this like adventures and all this. It's my passion.
Hmm.
Like for me, my career, I'm a lawyer and all this, like as is the same as how I'm doing for these children.
Hmm.
It's my
Hmm.
passion. I put my heart, my soul, everything in it.
Hmm.
Same The same passion, the same level of heart, and soul I put in these cars and bikes and all this. People, I do. Okay, the sad part here, let me tell you clearly, I still get the remarks from people saying
Hmm.
that, oh, why you are doing things that men do?
Yeah.
you know they seeing me like driving a big car, 4x4 and all this, right?
Yeah.
And super bikes and all this, they like still questioning me, like,
Hmm.
why? You know,
Yeah.
for me, it's like very sad. You know, I feel sad for them. You know,
Correct.
please, you know, I think that era already over. You
Yes.
know,
Absolutely
so we
correct.
are not. Yeah, it's like, you know, it's just, it's about my confidence. It's
Hmm.
not about whether I'm a man or woman. You
Hmm.
know, it's
Hmm.
my confidence level, and it's about my passion.
Correct.
Okay, so that's how we should raise our children also. You know, just
Yes.
because you are a boy, you cannot do certain things, or just
Hmm.
because you are a girl, you know, you cannot do certain things. No, I think that thing already, you know, like no more exists.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
love that. Absolutely correct.
yeah.
And I've seen
So
you. Yeah, I've seen you with your photographs and stuff like that. And you're very straightforward, which I love. And you walk the talk. I love people who walk the talk because I think there are too
correct,
many people who say one thing, do something else. Nitya.
exactly.
Yeah, and
And
therefore,
I don't really like in support of those who doing too many things,
hmm,
you know, like
correct.
you just do one or two things that which you so passionate about, you know,
Yes,
that's
yes,
enough. You know, end of the day, we as human being, end of the day, we are going after our happiness and the
yes,
satisfaction feeling, right?
yes. Right,
You know,
right.
so along the way, your hard work, everything will pay off and everything. You know, you will earn money, good money, and all this. Yes, it's good thing, but you must make sure you are happy.
Hmm, very
So
true.
that's the most important thing. So like
Very.
myself, being a lawyer, yes, I am making, you know, my earning my money and all this, but at the same time, I'm living my life.
Hmm, very important. Very
Yeah,
important. Yeah, to create a healthy balance between work and a healthy
correct,
balance between pursuing your own passions. Yeah, and I
correct.
love that. And I think I do the same too, because why not, right? That is the way to
Yeah,
live. Yeah,
yeah,
and you live it full, right? From a very inside inner happiness,
correct,
then
correct.
reflects outside. No, in that way, correct. I love the thought. I love the fact that you are a fine example in your community and in the work that you do. Because as I said, I see it for myself. So you do walk the talk in that way. What's the future looking like for you, Dr. Nithiya?
All right. Future. Okay. Okay. Honestly, I want
Mm,
to serve people, especially children, you know.
mm, mm.
Actually, I don't really care, not to say care, but
Okay.
about my personal future. Okay. But
All right.
I do care about the future of the next generation.
All right.
Okay, because
Noble.
the more I serve to them, the more I make their life better.
Mm.
I feel like even if I die tomorrow, I know I will die happily because I
Yes.
have served people. You know, that's the satisfaction that I'm looking for, you
Mm.
know.
Yeah.
So my whole life, I've always looking for the satisfaction feeling, you
Yeah.
know.
Very
If
noble.
I can make someone's life better or someone's life change for a better because of me,
Yes.
that's like my ultimate happiness, you know. That's my greatest achievement actually.
Lovely. And that's such a noble way to live, in service of yourself, correct? To make sure that you have a good living and a good life. And then in service of, the greater good, so that you can
Correct,
also contribute in a very productive and positive manner,
correct.
because you can, and therefore you should, to your immediate surroundings or things and causes that you believe in, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, and I hope to God that my platform, Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa, also kind of serves the greater good. Because all my guests who I bring on my show are experts in their field. They share their life's work. They share little kind of tips and things that one can apply to one's own life. And it's all put out there in a very public domain, so
Correct,
that it kind of can perhaps change somebody's life, can make an impact, can put the spotlight on leadership, how people can lead leadership from not from the old dogma, but from a very new way of leading. And I'm
correct.
sure, Dr. Nitya, I would like to know your leadership goals as well that you believe in and why they are important to you. If you can share it with my audience, please.
Okay, being a leader, right? Like the core thing here to do is serve the people.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
core thing for a leader to do. Okay,
Right.
so actually, like, I mean, if you actually serve the people, you don't you don't need to like claim yourself as a leader. The people
Mm.
themselves will make you an actual leader. There is a difference
Big
between
difference.
self-claimed leader
Yeah.
and people chosen leader. you
Yes.
know
Awesome.
so that's the main, I mean, that's the most important thing for every nation,
Hmm.
in all over the world. When you choose the leader, it must be by the people.
Yes.
Then only you can actually serve the people very well. you
Correct.
know
Yeah.
so, like, if at all you have the power to do it, please do so.
Yes. Wow.
And
Give an
on,
example by
on
what you're saying.
yeah, on another note, this is my personal opinion.
Sure.
You don't need to be a politician, or you don't need to get involved in politics,
Hmm.
or you don't need any sort of power, or
Hmm.
position for you to
Correct.
serve people. Like, for
Yes.
example, myself, I'm just a common person, just
Correct.
a very, very, very common person. But me alone, I can do this much.
Right.
Imagine if all of us, everyone is doing the same, we
Correct.
can save ourselves.
Yeah.
We don't need, like, like a certain, like, we don't need to give the power somewhere else, because we
Yeah.
have the power within.
Correct. I completely understand what you're saying. It is the savior complex that somebody else
Correct.
should come and rescue you, somebody else should come and save
Correct.
you, and then you kind of voluntarily, submit your power to somebody else,
Correct.
and
Correct.
therefore become helpless, right? When
Correct.
people themselves can be the one, that can change the course of their own communities, own lives, and therefore in the larger context, the course of the nation, right? The country that they belong to.
Yes, yes, because we never know how actually even a small act of kindness to
Hmm.
another person, how it's going to change their life. For example, I am who I am today because of those good souls who actually helped my mother when
Hmm.
she needed the help. So
Correct.
because of them, now today I'm able to help, and I'm able to safeguard these children.
Yes. Yeah. Step
So
on.
thanks
Yeah.
to all those souls, and let us, bring like good changes in other people's life.
Yes. Awesome, Nitya. I think I feel so inspired by what you're saying. I'm a single mother myself, so I completely know the space that you're talking about. And in my life too, I've had a lot of, mentors and guardian angels, I call them, because
Correct.
those people are the people that you then walk with, right? Not the
Correct.
uh,
Correct.
not the easy
Correct.
come, easy go. You know what I'm saying? In
Correct.
that way,
Correct.
right? Yeah, because the building blocks, the building bricks to take you to where you are going, long term future, are the
Yes.
people who helped you put those bricks together, right? Or became bricks themselves. you
Correct.
know
Correct.
yeah,
Correct.
this is so good. I really loved what you're saying, and you're saying it from the heart. And that's why, to my dear readers, Heart to Heart is about, what I call it, leadership soul series. It's not just about, people who sit in high positions. I want to know what really makes them tick at the soul level, because I think once that is awakened, you can do so much more, you know, become larger than just, a designation, a position, or the chair that you sit on. I'm sure Dr. Nitya also agrees to that, correct?
Yes.
In that
Correct.
way.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So awesome. I love this conversation. I had a great feeling, about where this conversation was going to go today, and I'm so grateful that you've been so honest and so straightforward. Thank you for sharing your own pain and trauma, with me, and with my audiences too. To my audience who are watching and who will watch, please share this video far and wide, so that more people are inspired to step up, to step up,
Yeah,
step up
correct.
to support the voiceless, especially children who don't really have the voice, to speak about what's happening to them and what is being done to them in that sense, right?
Correct.
And
Correct.
have you know great people like you, Dr. Nitya, to step up to the plate, and do what you're doing,
Yeah.
with all your energy and your own, self power to kind of really make a difference, and you are making a difference, which almost brings us to the, to the 60-minute mark. See how time flies when you have,
Yeah.
such a good conversation. What's your advice to future lawyers in Malaysia, Dr. Nitya?
Okay, future lawyers. Okay. Uh, you know, when they were students, right? When they were in school and decided they want to become a lawyer,
Right.
they will always have this goal saying that I want to serve the people. I
Correct.
want people to get justice. That's
Mm.
the reason why I'm becoming a lawyer. So
Yes.
my advice would be, please stick to your goals. So
Location.
yes. So you're correct. So the moment you fix in your mind, you want people, you want to guide people, you want to help people to get justice,
Hmm.
then please decide, to become a lawyer.
Yes.
Don't be a lawyer just to earn money.
Hmm.
It doesn't work that way, because you won't be so passionate about what you do. You know,
Correct.
it's not only about being a lawyer, but no matter what you do in life, no matter
Yes.
what,
Hmm.
whatever your career, whatever you do, please do it, like, so passionate about it.
Hmm.
You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
then somehow from, nowhere, the money will flow.
Yeah. Authenticity. I think what you're saying is authenticity.
Yes, correct. Because the moment you do it with passion, it will be your strength,
Correct.
and you will be so focused and you will be
Yes.
so good,
Yes.
in doing what you are doing,
Yes. Awesome.
and then automatically people will know about you and the work quality you give to them,
Hmm. Yeah.
you know
Correct.
so you don't need actually to market yourself or something, to advertise yourself. You don't. As long as you are good in what
Hmm.
you do, that's
Yeah.
the bottom line.
Yes. Wow. So all the future lawyers sitting down in law schools in Malaysia, also the future lawyers in India sitting down, also in, in schools and universities, you know, add passion, add purpose to your cause, to your profession, because I've had and I still do, some really fantastic lawyer friends, and now of course you become part of my inner circle too, who are so driven. I mean, passionately driven, to the point where I've seen, my lawyer friends even taking up cases, without being paid, but because they believe in that cause so much, and just
Correct.
go there and help people and support people. I think that passion is required today. I think humanity needs more passionate individuals who are compassionate, who are kind, because karma watches everything, Dr. Nitya.
Correct.
It doesn't
Correct.
forget. People forget acts of kindness and goodness that you do to them, for them,
Correct.
but karma does not. And I think you and I are blessed by good karma. I
Yes.
hope it always remains that way. Because whatever good that you do, big acts, small acts, which are consciously coming from the heart, it's all, the universe takes it and multiplies it into bigger, and it all comes back to you.
It
All
will.
comes
It
back.
will. I believe in that. Yeah.
Yeah, I believe in that too. I think that is like my core philosophy. What goes around comes around.
Counsel.
That is it. Yeah. And on that note, Dr. Nitya, it was fantastic having you on this edition of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa, brought to you in association with the Mac Clinic. I'm sure Dr. Hugh, when he watches this, also will get very excited and inspired, because he's another very passionate, professional himself. And we need more and more and more people like that, who kind of are fantastic individuals and professionals, also fantastic human beings.
Correct.
Important, very important.
Okay.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much for inviting me, and I'm so glad I'm able to, share my experience, my vision, my mission to everyone who's is watching this live.
Yes.
Like hopefully people will actually get the information, the knowledge,
Correct.
and at least try to figure out, or try to think that, oh, I should do something about it, or I should start to do something. That's the
Yes.
most important thing
Most
here.
important thing, yes. Is there a
Yes.
way that people can reach out to you when they watch the show in Malaysia or anything else? Is there a way
Yeah,
you want to?
maybe later on, below the link, I will
Okay,
post my Facebook's profile link. They
correct.
can add me in my Facebook, and they can private message me, anything. Yeah, sure.
Awesome. Dr. Nithiya, thank you so much once again for making and giving me your time and all the inputs that you shared with me. I'm looking forward to meet you back again on Friday for a little kind of, tet that we do in Bukit Bintang. Because I love those. It really kind of, I'm really hugely inspired by it because I said,
Yeah,
having like-minded individuals and people who resonate with, deep inside with me is very important for me. And
correct.
thank you for all that you do. More power to you. As I mentioned, you have my support. I've already said that to you. And yeah, let's set the fire where the fire needs to be set.
Yeah, sure. All
Yeah, more power to that. Yeah.
right.
Thank you. Thank you so much for being part of my Heart to Heart show today. Thank
Thank you. Have a great evening.
you. You too. And thank you to your family. And good work.
Bye.
Good work. Whatever you're doing, great work. More power to it. Bye, Dr. Nitya.
Bye.
And to my audiences who have been part of this edition of Heart to Heart, thank you for spending time with us. I hope we have inspired you to, to become, to pick up the baton, so to say, of being effective leaders in whatever that you do, in whichever professions that you are, to kind of to speak out when you see something wrong happening at your workspace, at your home spaces, in your community. Speak up, really speak up, because you don't know whose life you're changing, you don't know whose mental health you're supporting, and great productive work and great positivity can happen when we speak up more and more. So, on that note, thank you so much for joining me on this edition of Heart to Heart with Ethel Da Costa. Please share this video widely. Dr. Nithiya will also drop her contacts and her Facebook pages, so you can reach out to her if you see something which is unnatural and wrong happening surroundings. To my fans and friends, please get onto my Instagram handle at Ethel Da Costa. Please join and follow because I can't add too many people on my Facebook. To friends who are interested in things that you can do, beauty and skincare. If aesthetics interest you, please reach out to the Mac Clinic. I will also drop their contacts and Facebook page, and take care of your skin, take care of the way you feel. Skincare is just not external; it's starts within. So, have a great night. Have a great weekend. Tomorrow is the Agong's birthday in Malaysia, so all my love, and happy birthday to the Agong. Thank you for the great love I feel in Malaysia, for the hospitality that has been extended to me by Malaysia, her people, her government. I'm so honored and I'm so grateful that I get to experience such beauty and growth, personal and professional growth in your country. Thank you so much. Happy birthday, Agong, and thank you to all my friends in Malaysia for staying tuned and watching Heart to Heart. I'm going to see you next Sunday. Take care.